Today's sponsor is Project Pals, an amazing collaborative workspace for students to create and work with projects. Stay tuned at the end of the show to learn more about getting started for free and how I'm using Project Pals in my classroom. Artificial Intelligence Curriculum in Middle School, Episode 382.
The 10-Minute Teacher Podcast with Vicki Davis. Every weekday, you'll learn powerful, practical ways to be a more remarkable teacher today.
Artificial intelligence and automation. I was looking at a recent Brookings Institute study, and 54% of EU jobs are at risk of computerization. Here in the United States, 47% of U.S. workers have a very high probability over the next 20 years of having their jobs automated. The McKinsey Global Institute studied 750 jobs and found out that 45% of the paid activities of those jobs could be computerized. And 30% of most jobs, including ours teachers, could be automated. So artificial intelligence is important. So today we're talking with Dr. Justin Aglio, a visiting LearnLab fellow at Carnegie Mellon, but also curriculum director in Pennsylvania. Now, Justin, you have come up with the first artificial intelligence curriculum in middle school. When people ask you why, what do you tell them?
Well, it's pretty easy. Our middle school principal wanted to challenge himself and challenge our students and our staff to really dig deep in STEM education and data literacy. And this was a conversation we had back in the spring of 2018. And so we looked at STEM inquiry and data literacy. We kind of looked at different programs that are being offered. And right about around that time in the spring of 2018, a lot of things happened. First, Carnegie Mellon University, who at the time in the spring came up with the first bachelor's degree in artificial intelligence in the country. So that was intriguing to us. But also you saw a lot of commercials on TV like Microsoft with Common talking about AI. You're just hearing a lot of talk around AI. And so we started looking into what is AI, and we realized that it's STEM inquiry, data literacy, and some other factors. And we said, well, Pittsburgh was one of the leaders in artificial intelligence at Carnegie Mellon University in the 1950s and present day. And there's a lot of new startup companies in AI in Pittsburgh. Let's look at starting a program of artificial intelligence. And so what we did, we interviewed a lot of the teachers, and we looked at a lot of the companies and universities in Pittsburgh, and a lot of them were interested in doing AI. And so we decided to, let's go ahead and partner with some of these organizations. And just like how AI hinges on data collected, Montour's AI success, we learned will only hinge on the collection of shared stakeholders. So the future of education will be built on the shoulders of the strongest partnerships, and we were able to form some really strong partnerships that is common mission of us is putting children first, supporting the growth mindset, and creating a learning culture, and keeping that focus on students, but also a future forward focus as well. So that's pretty much how we got started, and everything kind of came pretty easy to us. We worked with Carnegie Mellon University. They're going to help us with our data literacy part of our curriculum and our autonomous robotics. And then also we reached out to some other companies like Amper Music, and we're teaching AI music in music classes. We did not want to forget about the arts. Then we reached out to a company called Carnegie Learning for computer science, where we're teaching patterns and algorithm classes there. And also some local companies for a course we call AI Experience, like Argo AI and Atheon, where we take field trips for students. And last but not least, when we wanted to talk about AI, we wanted to talk about ethics. We wanted to make sure that we had a real strong ethics program, because you hear a lot of these things, how AI is going to take over the world, like you said, take jobs or build these giant robots that are going to destroy mankind. So we really wanted to tackle ethics and do what was right. So we were really lucky that MIT reached out to us, and they're actually will be in the school district this fall and spring to help us design an AI ethics course for all 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders in our middle school of about 1,000 students. So we have some other programs, but that's the majority of our programs. And we wanted to do this because we realized that innovation starts and ends with people. And technology will not change the future, but it's the people that will be programming this technology that will change the future. And so we really wanted to drive that home with our students to say, you are the future, you're going to design it, and AI is a tool to help you design that future.
So, Justin, for those listening, this sounds like college courses to a lot of folks. Help us understand what is a typical path through your AI curriculum in middle school at your school.
So we wanted to make sure that all students were exposed to artificial intelligence in some way or another. So the first place we started was our elective courses. Within the elective courses, we started to do courses through the elective courses. And we're also doing some training around data literacy within our core courses, but we all students in our middle school take library class, so that was a no-brainer for us. So we wanted to start in library, then branched out to STEM class, then we'd get into the fine arts, and then we're going pushing in computer classes. We're working with social studies, science classes. We have literacy and math teachers that want to get involved with it. So I think for year one, as we roll this out, we had some really core courses that we wanted to select and push into our electives, and then branch out to all of our core courses in the future.
So in library time, for example, what are some examples of some AI curriculum that was put into the library time that all the students had?
Yeah, so we actually, like I said, at MIT, we developed a course called AI Ethics, and it's a pretty simple course. Students will come in and learn the basics of artificial intelligence. They'll do some research on it. We'll make some connections that are relevant to them, like Amazon Alexa, Google Home, recommenders that YouTube pops up, or Netflix. And then, as we go throughout the course, we'll study those examples. We'll have students design their own recommenders, and students will research what those recommenders are. And then at the end of the course, they'll actually do a project where they will interview stakeholders, they'll interview people, and look at various jobs that are changing and do some type of project at the end of the course. So we'll incorporate a lot of design thinking into it. And so it's not just about throwing a bunch of information at the students, but actually having students participate in the curriculum with the teacher as well.
So, Justin, AI kind of sounds like a pie in the sky to a lot of teachers. Help us understand, what are the repercussions if we do not teach ethics of data literacy and AI? What could happen in our world? Let's say we did not embrace and teach students now the ethics. What are some negative scenarios that could happen?
Well, I'll start by this. We had a newspaper reporter ask us in the summertime. They said, "Are you afraid of teaching AI, something that's so new and something that a lot of teachers and students may not know of?" And I said, "No, I'm actually afraid for teachers and schools that are not teaching AI, because AI is no longer the future. AI is here. It's present day. It's all around us." And there are students sitting in our schools today, sitting in seats, sitting in middle schools today that could and will probably have a cure for cancer, probably will have an idea that's going to really shock the world. And using AI could be that tool that they could use to do those things. And a great example at the University of Washington in computer science and engineering, they are working with a local hospital to really look at cures to solve leukemia cancers at the hospital. And there's some news stories out there right now where they take all 40 years of data that's collected, and they're looking at different ways to identify cancer early to move forward. Without artificial intelligence, that couldn't exist. And so, like I said, there are students today in our classrooms that are sitting there, and they have the ideas. And just like we gave these students access to the internet and other technology, AI is that technology that really will define the future of mankind. And I strongly believe that.
Yes, and if people want to understand the impact of AI, all they have to do is think of this word, robocallers. That is what we're dealing with. They sound like people, and they're really robocallers. And it's a shame, because right now we have the unethical use of robocallers, and many of us can't even use our phones anymore because we're getting all of these calls, and people who are important don't get through because of the misuse of this particular AI technology that we've not gotten out ahead of. So, Justin, as we finish up, how can people learn more about what you're doing? Where can they go to investigate and see how they can bring something like this to their school?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously we just started this school year this fall, and one of the things we want to do is open source everything we do. So for example, MIT or AI ethics curriculum at the end of the school year, we will open source this somehow, some way, so other teachers and educators can use this in their classrooms. Also, we're going out doing a lot of talks and bringing our AI expert teachers and partners to educate other educators why AI is so important. We'll be at the TRETC conference coming up in November. The OETC conference, the Ohio Educational Technology Conference, is February 12th, 13th, and 14th, and that's in Columbus, Ohio. And the theme of that conference is AI and learning. And I'll actually be one of the keynotes for that conference, which I'm very excited about, to talk about AI and education and why it's important. I think more and more as conferences and workshops pop up, we are starting to see the word AI, artificial intelligence, more and more. So I think number one is people have to know what it is. And that's very hard. A lot of people can not define it, but they can explain it. And so, which is a good first step. So we kind of start defining it, what it looks like. Like you said at the beginning, there's a lot of statistics out there, how it's going to impact jobs, how it's going to impact industry, how it's going to impact in education. So I think just being aware of it and trying to find those ways that we can easily introduce AI to students, because at the end of the day, we have millions of students in this country, and those millions of students will graduate. And a lot of the statistics out there, for example, the World Economic Forum said the number 2 top trending job will be artificial intelligence and machine learning in 2022. Those are freshmen right now in our high school. And if we're not teaching that, how are these freshmen going to be prepared for that top trending job? So just like you said, be aware of statistics out there. What is AI? And look at the really big impact and start thinking, this maybe is not going to happen. No, this will happen. This is happening. And to get that mindset right now and start really looking how people can introduce that.
Well, a lot to think about here. Thank you, Justin. Today's sponsor is Project Pals. Project Pals has a useful classroom collaborative platform that lets you create and manage projects for your students. Right now, my students are creating and managing a project as they're creating a podcast to record powerful stories from the recent storms in our area. Project Pals connects with Google Classroom, but also lets me see the detail on which students are contributing and participating. I also love the task board, which is a Trello-like Kanban board that lets students create, assign, and complete tasks. You can also link in Google Docs and do brainstorming and so much more. It's really a very powerful tool. I will be featuring this tool on my blog and newsletter this week. So go to projectpals.com. That's projectpals.com and sign up today.
Thank you for listening to the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast. You can download the show notes and see the archive at coolcatteacher.com/podcast. Never stop learning.